Grounding mechanism. Dear Ascending Family, this month we discuss the fundamental understanding that the grounding mechanism for the human and planetary body is reconfiguring into different and higher functions. Currently, there are sweeping changes occurring to the planetary architecture, which are impacting the human body and collective consciousness in a variety of ways, putting stress upon the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual layers in order to adapt to the laws of structure in the next harmonic universe. The world of forces, as we have known them on the earth, are fundamentally changing their patterns of movement. Transiting into the next harmonic universe requires that the cellular record, the birth imprint in our light body, be altered so that our consciousness is able to synchronize with the higher frequency timeline or ascending spaces that exist without alien machinery. For some groups, the arc of this ascending pathway to evolve beyond third-dimensional Earth mind control is longer. For others, it is shorter or even happening now. We must transform our consciousness into more loving, kind, and unifying thought forms, or suffer the consequences of our unconscious actions that pull us down into density like a lead weight. The density of these unconscious forces carry us into the magnetic pull of black force interaction that works like a vacuum, sucking down everything in its path to be dragged into the black void of space. The negative alien agenda is banking on maintaining the status quo of unconscious slavery in humanity by transmitting extremely negative base thoughts in order to capitalize on the black forces that are highly magnified in the collective consciousness. All of our efforts should be towards deflecting and neutralizing the mainstream psychological operations targeting our minds with blasts of negativity by deeply connecting with our inner spirit and grounding into our own core self. When we have developed a strong inner-directed grounding mechanism, it is much easier to stay centered and keep our heart open while we sail through the choppy seas that are generated from the convergence of many forces at once, along with their energetic interference patterns. Only when a person is fully grounded in their core self will they feel safe enough to open up their heart to feel deep emotions that are capable of catalyzing profound spiritual healing and consciousness shifts. As some of the lower frequency planetary vortices that were functioning as the base chakra system of the Earth have dissolved, one of the major events happening during this phase is the reconfiguration of the human light body's grounding mechanism. Essentially, this refers to the reconfiguration of the red wave chakra spectrum, changing the root chakra first dimensional interface that governs the activation of prana seeds and life force distribution throughout the human body, as well as within the planetary body. The human electromagnetic energy field is designed to directly interface with the planetary electromagnetic energy field via electrical circuits that generate a grounding mechanism. Electrical circuits are produced during electromagnetic field interaction, which occurs when having direct contact with the natural living consciousness of the Earth through the planetary grid system. The planetary grid system is the global brain. It is the intelligent energy running through the world of forces and assorted frequency currents throughout the Earth body. These assorted frequency currents run sequences of harmonic resonances throughout horizontal lines, vertical lines, and diagonal lines. These cross dimensions through Stargate systems into white hole and black hole vortices, which project the fundamental frequency version of the holographic reality we experience in the collective consciousness on the Earth. Because the Earth stargates have been infiltrated by negative alien machinery for the purpose of broadcasting artificial intelligence mind control and genetic modification of the human species, the version of time and space we experience in Earth's holographic reality has been artificially controlled by the unseen forces of the negative alien agenda. We are exposed to not only the shifting forces of an ascending planet, but the artificial technology counter forces that are blasted towards the planet and humanity to stop the consciousness evolution from progressing. Humanity is enduring the challenging state of planetary ascension, the collective consciousness evolution, as we leave the artificial systems of alien technological control and begin to discover our true multidimensional spiritual identity and origins way beyond the third-dimensional mind control matrix. How well we navigate this chaotic time will be relative to how deeply connected we are to our core self, how well we can physically adapt to build a new grounding mechanism for ourselves. The implication of shifting away from the lower third-dimensional harmonic grounding mechanism in the planetary architecture is immense and lends to the surreal quality of excess amplified polarities with no place to ground or equalize, generating electrical explosions and chaos in the surrounding field. Additionally, the negative alien agenda retaliate through their desperate attempts to maintain total control over the bioneurology of the human body through the many soft kill methods they employ to perpetrate the alien deception and continue to digress the consciousness development of the human race. Being caught in the crossfire of explosive energetic chaos can be very stressful and unhealthy for the human body. These are challenging times for all of us on the Earth as we navigate the war over consciousness that includes the fight over controlling Earth territories and the agenda to continue to harvest Earth humans as energy slaves. Our security and stability lies within our direct relationship with our inner Christ spirit, understanding our own responsibility and accountability to protect the light and highest consciousness within us. This month we discuss the fundamental understanding that the grounding mechanism for the human and planetary body is reconfiguring into different and higher functions. The impact this has upon the root interface for light body functioning and the human body's physical requirements for adaptation are related to the spiritual embodiment process. When we are grounded in our core self, even if we are being uprooted in the physical realm, we can weather the storm. During the bifurcation shifts, the grounding mechanism in the root of the human light body is undergoing reconfiguration, which will be varied by the spiritual light frequency embodiment of the individual. This is changing the electrical circuits in how the human energy field interacts with the earth body. It is also contributing to some metabolic changes and physical adaptations, as there are changes being made to the consciousness record at birth. Birth transduction sequence. The birth transduction sequence is the exact moment that the cellular record of the consciousness identity imprinted during incarnational birth into this physical body on the earth. When we come through the birth canal, we are actually imprinted with ancestral, genetic, astrological, celestial, and magnetic imprints that influence the pathway of our soul spirit, our consciousness identity, and the arcing spiral of that light through time. The transduction sequence is that exact moment when our consciousness light comes into a filter for physical expression and therefore acts as the fundamental construct of our light body grounding mechanism that exists in the first dimension. It is this interface that connects us to the earth body transduction sequence record for connecting to the system of collective earth consciousness. This record reflects in our light body that we are earthlings, consciousness identities from the earth plane, located in this lower creation realm section of the universe. This also could be referred to as our soul spirit blueprint for achieving our highest expression in divine purpose and alignment with universal laws. The transduction sequence is the definition of when the God spark connects to the core manifestation body, which is the 12-tree grid, which is our light body, and that is the blueprint record that projects our consciousness identity out into the elemental physical manifest body. There are 9 dimensions of the spectrum of frequency, or the triad of 3 sets of Kundalini energies that are coiled up within 8 fetal cells located on the tailbone or coccyx. These 8 fetal cells are created at the time of conception and are usually impacted by the reptilian tail implant that stops Kundalini activation in the general population. The incarnating consciousness identities are connected in these intelligent layers of frequency that are linked into the silver cord of the soul spirit and hold the birth transduction sequence that is the instruction set for the entire consciousness. During spiritual initiation, once freed of the false umbilicus structure in the astral plane as a result of proper soul-body integration, the power management in the monadic spiritual layer of the atomic body that connects at the first dimensional level changes the birth transduction sequence record and grounding mechanism. The spiritual initiate or energetically sensitive will feel their grounding to the earth body wired differently. The larger importance of this current reconfiguration is that this same process is transpiring in the planetary body during the shift to the next harmonic universe as the natural result of the planetary ascension. This shifts everyone's grounding, whether they are aware of that fact or not. As the collective consciousness of planet Earth shifts, out of the third dimensional transduction sequence record. It fundamentally changes everything that we were as an earthling. The core of our identity is being challenged and tested to match with the higher version of our spiritual selves, making this a very confusing time for many people on the earth who are grappling with their personality identity as well as the dismantling of their third dimensional version of reality. All of us on earth are shifting transduction sequence, and that means we are no longer the same identity we were originally when we were born onto the earth. Our incarnational record will reflect entirely different coordinates in time. This massive consciousness shift in the transduction record is one of the major reasons many starseeds clamored to come to the earth during the ascension cycle, to take part as a forerunner in this quantum leap made through the timelines. The birth transduction shift can be very hard on the physical body when a human being has not been given a biospiritual context or reasons why the body must physically adapt to these changes occurring with the electromagnetic fields. It is crucial to remain as relaxed, fluid, transparent, and loving as possible to these shifting electromagnetic fields to help the body remain open to align to its new light body grounding mechanism and transduction record. We must recognize when to retreat in order to protect ourselves from the chaotic onslaught and artificial technologies, and know that we must surrender everything to our higher power in order to remain as relaxed as possible. Electromagnetic fields and time vectors. An electromagnetic field is a physical field that is produced by electrically charged objects, and this applies to understanding the existence of the human bioenergy field. All human bodies are electrically charged entities. Electromagnetic fields affect the behavior of other charged bodies or objects in the vicinity of the field, and this also describes the electromagnetic interaction that occurs between all living things. There are unending sources of electromagnetic fields on the earth, some naturally occurring, some artificial, like those being applied for subduing humanity via psychotronic warfare. In order to gain control over our own personal energies, we must understand the nature of our human electromagnetic field and how it is impacted by externally charged objects and the world of forces. We gain clarity by paying attention to what we are feeling when in contact with other people or other types of forces, especially those that are externally sourced. When we develop awareness of this electromagnetic interaction and commit to gain control over the direction of our own energies, we gain incredible strength in repelling undesirable forces and external negative energies away from our personal energy field. An electromagnetic field is composed of two related vector fields, the electrical field, which is male, and the magnetic field, which is female. Vector fields represent fluid flow and can be thought of as representing the speed of a vibrating or moving energy flow throughout space, dimension, or interaction with a physical force or object. The vector field is usually represented as an arrow moving in the route of its force, such as quantifying its direction or the change made in the position of time coordinates as the electromagnetic field is moving along its pathway. Think of gusts of wind being perceived as energy flows, moving in pathways in assorted patterns and different rates of speed all over the globe. These paths are vectors. Generally, we are not taught to think of the human body radiating an electromagnetic field that interacts with other electromagnetic fields, or how that consciousness interaction defines its position in a time vector pathway. In this context, time is the interval pathway that the consciousness is traveling in between different points in space-time. What decides the course of our consciousness pathway through time? When we are unconscious, the power of the external force interaction made upon our energy body will push us into alignment with the predominant forces inherent in the collective consciousness body. When we are unconscious, the human body will tend to act impulsively and instinctually to express the content, thought forms, and energies present in the forces of the collective unconsciousness stream. This unconscious content is vibrated through the human electromagnetic field and carries that person into the principal consciousness stream that travels within that time vector. This is similar to being pulled down a river in a strong current. The physical body does not have the power to swim against the current, but is instead being pulled by forces into the path of the river's current. The path of the river is what defines the location in space and time that consciousness is traveling. This illustrates the point that inner core strength must be developed in order to ascend out from the time pathway of the principal force in the collective unconsciousness stream, represented by the river's current that is presently on the earth. To remain awake and conscious takes deep spiritual commitment and strength. To realize the inner direction of your authentic core self is to consciously choose the pathway of your spiritual self, and surrendering to our spirit is what supersedes the power of exertion that is applied by any external force. As an analogy, think of the human body as our vessel, similar to a sailboat navigating the currents in the oceans of life. In order to navigate the oceans and travel the vectors of time that get us from one point to another, we have to know how to steer our boat and manage our navigation. This means being aware of the forces at play through different exposures to weather and sea conditions, as well as the many forces that are outside of our control. We cannot control external forces, people, or conditions, but we can control how we respond to those conditions. When we are able to ground in our own core self and be inner directed, it is in this response that we gain control over our direction. We can maintain our momentum forward, no matter who or what is interfering with us or trying to take us off our path. When we know who we are and we are true to ourselves, we gain strength and empowerment to navigate unscathed through the most serious challenges. The goal is to stay on course and to not allow external forces or other people to apply forces to take you away from what you know is true for yourself. What we allow to interact with and influence our personal electromagnetic field, and what outside forces we internalize and believe is our identity, will place us in the time vector of that consciousness stream. The ascending path is directed by our inner spirit and core self. Thus, we must communicate with our spirit and follow that path without hesitation in order to be aligned to our highest consciousness stream. DNA activation of time vector codes. Additionally, it is the symmetry, proportion, and the ratio of the spin between the electrical field and the magnetic field within the human light body that determines the position of where the consciousness identity is located in time and how it travels in time. This can happen independent of where the physical body is actually located in space-time. Our higher consciousness is fluid energy made up of vector fields, containing the potentials of activating time vector codes in our DNA that align with the planetary, galactic, and universal time vector codes. This propels our consciousness forward through time intervals, which is consciousness shifting made through time skipping. If you find yourself traveling in other times and planetary spaces, observing images, ETs, or identities in other timelines, this is an example of activated time vector codes. Time vector codes manifest as coordinate location pathways in multidimensional spaces or in other timelines. As the planet shifts into the higher harmonic universe, it activates the relative time vector codes for that coordinate location in time. During this current phase of the ascension cycle, we have the unusual experience where it is possible for our consciousness to travel onto much higher time vector pathways than what's been recorded in our physical body's biological clock at birth. Our consciousness can expand to travel in time intervals that are located by universal time vector codes, or 0 point, while our human body is still anchored in planet Earth's time fields. This is happening while we are sharing physical space with many other human bodies simultaneously that are traveling in their consciousness through different time vector pathways. Further, all consciousness has an energetic signature that is generated from its electromagnetic field and is composed of spectrums of frequency that are arranged in form-holding blueprints. These blueprints hold the content of our entire consciousness memory record, and this information can be read through their energetic signatures that produce component frequency waves that translate into harmonic language. This is what is known as reading the harmonic signature of electromagnetic fields and DNA signals. This is a higher sensory perception ability that is made possible from expanding consciousness and developing the light body through the activation of DNA fire letters or time vector codes. Reading electromagnetic fields reveal specific data about their intention, location in time, and frequency quality, such as whether these energy fields are positive, negative, or neutral, as well as defining what electromagnetic fields are artificial, militarized, running alien technology, or are naturally occurring signals coming from the Earth kingdoms. Electrical circuitry in human light body. Humans are multidimensional beings of light that have multiple layers of spiritual bodies that are electromagnetic in nature, and in each nested layer of these electromagnetic bodies are levels of spiritual energetic intelligence that is conscious. The human energy field is a layered system of energy circuits designed to run energy throughout the bodily matrices with an entry and exit points at both ends, like our north and south pole. It also has a main central channel of current along the spine that anchors intermediate points that serve as the intake receiver and discharge transmitter of the spinning vortices of life force energy. There are flowing channels of energy known as meridians and axiotonal lines, which impact the flow of energy to all of the organs, glands, and interconnect all of the processes within the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual self. The planetary body has the exact same layered system of energy circuits and is the macrocosm body reflection of the microcosm represented in the individual human body. All humans and life forms on our planet have an interconnected bioenergy field composed of a complex network of electrical circuits, which make up the individual and collective electromagnetic battery body, and this is commonly called the aura or light body. The human light body is configured with specific electrical circuits in the root layers that are designed to energetically interface and lock down the light body grounding mechanism directly with the planet. This grounding mechanism is what connects us to the collective consciousness and to all of the human race species memories on the Earth. The electrical circuit is the path through which subatomic particles or electrons from the electromagnetic current of the human energy field flow and exchange with the current that is running in the planetary grid network. Electrons radiate or absorb energy in the form of photons of light when they are accelerated through the electrical circuitry of the human light body. When the human energy field interacts with the natural frequencies in the planetary electromagnetic field, subatomic particles are exchanged, which produce light that carries assorted data through electromagnetic signals. When human DNA was unplugged in the Sumerian Egypt invasion, it was at this time the human race lost their ability to translate the electromagnetic signals of species memory. We lost our DNA language that allowed for communication with the Earth intelligence and with each other. However, the circuit exchange is still beneficial, and some of us are coming online with the corrected DNA signal pattern. The circuit exchange of electrons is equalized within the human body, helping to naturally neutralize negative energies or free radicals, which may result in many potential physical health benefits. The human light body's electrical grounding works in the same manner as an electrical circuit that is attached to the Earth uses the interface as an electrical conductor. The electrical circuitry in the human light body functions as the grounding mechanism, which produces a direct physical connection and a DNA signal bond, an electromagnetic interface that communicates with the Earth. It acts as the electrical circuit that interacts with the electromagnetic network of the human light body that consists of a closed loop from the Earth, giving it a return path for the current to complete its circuit. The Earth acts as the grounding circuit, which gives an additional path for aberrant or high voltage electromagnetic current to be absorbed and neutralized so the human body is not harmed by electrical surges or accumulated harmful energies. It also acts as a method for data transmission through the electrical circuits of the human light body, which help empaths to gain information about the Earth's changes. The human body is a composite of the elemental materials that make up the Earth body. Being electromagnetic beings traveling in a physical body made up of the Earth elements, those of us born on the Earth are naturally designed to interface and interconnect directly, communicating with the Earth's electromagnetic body. Unfortunately, due to the negative alien agenda broadcast of artificial intelligence and alien machinery, intuitive empaths or starseeds have to be more discerning about how and where we ground directly into the planetary grid network. Many people, however, gain health benefits from having direct skin contact with all forms of nature and animals by walking, sitting, or sleeping outside when in direct contact with the Earth. Earthing. Earthing is a form of grounding to the Earth and refers to direct skin contact with the Earth elements. For many people, feeling ungrounded and uncomfortable in their body during the bifurcation shift, this may be a very beneficial practice. It is also possible using a conductive wire that is attached to the human body or through an earthing mat to generate the electrical circuit with the earth field if access to nature is not available. When grounding to the earth, the electric potential of the circuit depends on the location, atmospheric conditions, day or night, and the moisture that is on the surface of the earth. Intuitive empaths and starseeds will need to pay attention to their natural sensitivities to determine if earthing feels good or not for regaining energetic balance with their body. In some cases, due to inorganic or alien current running in the field of certain demographics, this may not be a beneficial practice. For the majority of people on the earth that are in the soul integration phases, such as earth seeds, earthing will feel positive and very good for the body because it acts as a neuromodulator. Neuromodulation is the process by which nervous system activity is regulated through the adjustment of the physiological levels by stimulating neurotransmitters. Thus, earthing changes the density of negative charge in the human energy field and nervous system, and this directly influences physiological processes such as brain chemistry in positive ways. Earth is sending out electromagnetic signals to support the human body to adapt to the planetary ascension, and this signal allows the human nervous system to better adapt to the demands being placed on the human body and brain during the intensity of the consciousness shift. Being immersed in nature, focusing on deep breathing, along with connecting with the earth or water elements, is especially helpful to rebalance the electrical activity of the brain. Kidneys are grounding organs for life force energy. The kidneys are directly impacted by the shifting sands of the root grounding mechanism. As this shifts the balance of polarity, it is changing the prana or chi delivery system into the body as the first dimensional architecture is dissolving in the planetary body. The inability of the body to rapidly adapt to being uprooted, poor discernment of life-altering events, heart shocks, along with the toxic overload of chemicals and negative fear-based emotions dumped upon the human population, have produced an epidemic of kidney disease. The kidneys are particularly affected through sympathetic resonances made by changes in the first dimensional grounding mechanism and shifts in chi distribution, along with mental and emotional stress, a poor diet inundated with artificial chemicals, and the fear-based artificial technology assaults. The kidney's job is to remove harmful particles from the blood, emptying them into the bladder for excretion, and maintain the chemistry of the blood and blood pressure by controlling all of the chemicals dissolved in the bloodstream. When the kidneys are impaired and overloaded, toxic waste and chemicals build up in the blood and tissues that cannot be filtered properly. According to the UC San Francisco, more than 650,000 patients per year in the United States and an estimated 2 million patients worldwide are affected by end-stage renal disease. Kidney failure is increasing in the United States by 5% per year, with the two main allopathic treatments offered being kidney machine dialysis or kidney transplantation. 10% of the population has some form of diabetes and neurological pain, and this number appears to be growing steadily in adults and children. What is putting such pressure on our kidneys, and why are they failing? Eastern medical philosophy knows that the kidneys ground other organs for the body. They act as the root of life that is responsible for the protection of the reservoir of vital essence and the distribution of energetic chi power throughout the organ system, reproductive functions, and the entire body. The kidneys are relationship organs, and they suffer when we have relationship issues and sexual imbalances that may be stemming from a lack of interpersonal support or feeling unloved from a lack of physical tenderness. Our emotions travel in our personal energy field, and when energy is being released, one can have an emotional breakthrough that allows the feelings to flow, so we can connect to feeling the emotions moving in the body. This allows release of emotional pain and fear, and provides relief to chronic issues with the kidneys, opening into greater emotional as well as spiritual energetic expansion. Conversely, a closed heart from pain and fear that blocks emotions directly impairs the kidney's water management function and interferes with the distribution of life force energy that is required for a grounded, healthy, and balanced mind and body. Furthermore, when our heart is healed, there is a fire that is ignited inside the heart that is accessed And this heart flame is also fed by the vital essence stored in the kidneys. There is a triangular link that connects the heart complex into each side of the kidneys, which act like an electrical circuit in our light body. The kidneys are in the base of the triangle from left to right, and the upper point of the triangle is connected in the heart. When the heart is healed, there is a twin flame ignition in our heart and kidneys simultaneously, which shifts the heart configuration into twinning the inner flames. Twin flames equal the restored energetic balance between the masculine and feminine energies that is the structure of light formed within the heart complex. So when the two flames ignite in the heart, the vital essence stored in the kidneys helps to carry the chi flame throughout the physical body to unite with the spiritual flame of the monadic body. The monad is the greater flame of spirit, while the physical body is the lesser flame of vital essence or life force. When these two flames are ignited to unify, there is a burst in the heart flame that sends the fire to grow the vital essence that is produced by the kidneys. The kidneys produce the gate of life, which is a pocket of life force in the lower dantian or hara complex that is required for the monadic spiritual body to seat itself or embody within the physical self. Essentially, the kidneys help to build the inner light body dwelling that is required to seat the monadic body. Any visually guided exercise that intends to build the life force energy in the lower dantian and circulate energy in the bottom of the feet strengthens the kidney's ability to store vital essence, helps adjust grounding mechanism, and also helps perform the physical functions of cleansing the blood. Additionally, there are kidney tonics and herbs that are common to Oriental medicine that are helpful for tonifying kidney function, especially if grounding or core centering has been problematic. Kidney depletion produces adrenal exhaustion. The adrenal glands are endocrine glands that produce a variety of hormones, and they are most especially known to pump cortisol into the bloodstream when under stress that puts the human nervous system into fight or flight reactions. Adrenaline is normally produced by both the adrenal glands and certain neurons that can also be activated through emotional responses. Every emotional response has a behavioral component, an autonomic nervous system component, and a glandular secretion or hormonal factor. The hormonal factors of emotional stress and pain include the release of adrenaline, an adrenal gland response that occurs in reaction to fear-based emotions controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. The major emotion that releases adrenaline in the bloodstream is intense fear. Additionally, the adrenal glands play an important role in the fight or flight response by increasing blood flow to muscles, increasing pumping of the heart, pupil dilation, and controlling blood sugar. The function of adrenaline pumping into the bloodstream that occurs when a person is incited into terror or fear, combined with the negative alien agenda to produce as much negative emotional energy as possible for louche harvesting, may be the primary reasons why most of humanity is in a state of total adrenal exhaustion. When a person does not correct adrenal exhaustion from pumping adrenaline or other stress hormones into the bloodstream, the next stage is nervous system freeze, the state of shock and numbness that occurs from sustained states of fight or flight reactions. At a certain point of experiencing continual pain or terror, the body and nervous system will go numb from adrenal hormone overload, which turns off emotional responses and closes down the heart. The adrenals are on top of each kidney, so they are directly impacted by kidney depletion, which also naturally leads to adrenal exhaustion. If we are doing something in our life that is really disharmonious to our spirit, and our day-to-day job is not authentic to who we are, this also drains the kidneys, adrenals, and our life force. When we are being forced to cope with difficult life stressors in our job, relationship, or other situations, our body may be undergoing deep unconscious emotional stress. We may feel unsupported and stressed out from having to work really hard just to meet our financial obligations, or feeling forced to make things happen in order to survive. During the ascension cycle, for many, the careers, jobs, and relationships we have made in the third dimensional reality are no longer compatible with who we are becoming. Our body is sending us the message through adrenal exhaustion that we can no longer live in the same way. We have to make changes. And the first change we have to make is the shift of our consciousness through the death of the ego. Planetary control for human kidney chi. During the bifurcation phase, the Saturn construct in the first dimensional grid of the Earth started to dismantle, and a fierce attempt to control or regain the kidney life force produced by the human body in the collective consciousness field has been an issue in the field over the last 18 months specifically. The kidneys are vulnerable, and they need our attention to reclaim them from the slavery overlays, and to reclaim the prana seeds and chi energies, to reclaim what they hold as spiritual imprints for our blood, towards rebuilding our heart center and evolving our kidneys into their higher purpose for our ascending body. When the lower vortices dissolved, the planetary chakra reconfiguration in the lower areas of the first and second dimension revealed specific alien architecture. These overlays encrypt the human body to be a slave at the point of birth in the transduction sequence record in the core manifestation body or 12-tree grid. The core manifestation template of the 12-tree grid has the instruction set to control the function of organs and glands at every dimensional level, as the glands are specific to secreting chemical substances and hormones that allow our human consciousness to multidimensionally travel in higher time vectors. This function was stolen by the negative aliens, exerting an assortment of artificial controls over the 12-tree grid and the planet, which impacts the Albion awakening in the planetary body. There are giant crystal stasis beings that are asleep in the earth body that are the keys to awaken the Albion body architecture in the United Kingdom landmass. To maintain control over the human body as it comes into the manifest form in the third dimensional timelines, coding is inserted into the reptilian tail in the first dimensional area. This is an ownership implant that tags all humans as property of negative alien groups. These tags are used to route people on Earth in future dimensions of time to work in slave colonies or assorted galactic trafficking schemes that are supervised by these off-planet corporation conglomerates and draconian groups. This alien tag in the reptilian tail is the energy signature of the negative alien agenda ownership coding. It takes life force and vital forces from out of the kidneys, and the kidney life force in most humans drains out of the perineum and is run back into the earth grid to be collected in dark matter and taken to Saturn for archontic control. The Orion Black Sun groups place copyright and legal controls on human body parts, genetic material, and the human tree of life. This is because it gave them easier access to monitor and control the information relating to the structure of the soul, multidimensional anatomy, and they believe that the human race is owned by the draconian races or Orion groups of the negative alien agenda. It is the draconians who are behind this effort of ownership of humans and their spiritual body parts, as well as harvesting their organs and glands. Human kidneys have direct connection to the Ka battery body in our etheric body, and by compromising our kidneys, they get access to the Ka electromagnetic battery body of the human soul. They also harvest the planetary body equivalent, draining a massive quantum of energy from the earth. All main internal organs are being drained from the kidney chi drain and blockage of Kundalini activation, achieved from alien machinery and implantation. The kidney is the starting point of the drain that impacts the liver, lung, spleen, and heart. All organs have a spiritual intelligence that has a higher purpose, which they have not been able to embody previously. As the grounding mechanism is reconfigured in the earth and the human body, these organs are starting to be reconnected into their higher purpose and function in the body during the ascension. Some human bodies are ill-prepared for this, as the internal circuitry has been disconnected from pharmaceuticals or other harmful neurological exposures, which make it harder for the body to adapt to new functions. Draconian groups are involved in a galactic human trafficking operation in the solar system, which includes organ harvesting in a variety of methods that includes growing humans in labs for this purpose and taking genetic sampling where they grow organs and glands from cloned bodies. If we have cloned bodies where our tissues have been sampled in other dimensions, this may interfere with our organs functioning well in this body. The return to rightful owner command can be useful for reclaiming body parts. Some human groups that we know from previous lifetimes made a deal with the Draconians and sold the rest of us out. The deal was they would be allowed to have access to esoteric knowledge, ascension, law of one, and how to free themselves from the earth phantom realms, but it would be totally overseen by draconian control, and the numbers with access to this information would be extremely limited and controlled, as they still exerted rights of harvesting energy and life force that they want to run off planet. The harvesting of life force in human organs from Earth allows them to live thousands of years, while we die early deaths, making it very easy for them to be much more advanced technologically and otherwise. Many of the people who made a deal with the negative alien agenda have undergone severe satanic ritual abuse, torture methods in other realms to make sure they maintain compliance on the earth. This includes the groups fighting over disclosure right now on and off planet, and the fact they want immunity from being held accountable for what they have done. As it becomes revealed in the future and this whole sordid tale unravels, they do not want full disclosure for this reason. They want to be believed dead or gone to another planet when this information comes out to the public. At this time, it may be helpful to connect all communication and spiritual links between the kidneys and all the main organs as you are guided to help stabilize physical issues if you are having them. Focus is upon the kidneys, but all organs are being affected as we undergo the change of energetic structure in the field. It is suggested to use the quick step, PDD, for reclaiming your kidneys, sexual organs, and main organs, as well as glands and the energies they generate as you feel guided. This is consciously participating with reclaiming the spirit and vital essence of internal organs, as well as reclaiming their proper circulation and higher expression to come online, to help strengthen the physical body's ability to circulate all three main life force energies into the organ and gland, etheric nidus, and meridians, life force, physical vitality, and spiritual energies. For those on the ascending path, this is becoming more possible, while those on the descending path may be having more kidney-related disease labels. Current energetic key themes for light body support: emphasis on resetting and supporting the root chi energy configuration to better support lower organ function and spiritual foundation. Alignment of horizontal and vertical networks that have had an onslaught of spirit attachments at the black hole and white hole intersections. Supporting kidneys, adrenals, urinary bladder, reproductive organs, removing fragments and attachments to these organs. Clearing auric harnesses and chi siphons from spirit attachments. Clearing suppressor parasites as etheric weaponry from fifth-dimensional timelines. Clearing karmic influences from bare lineages from Ursa Major influences upon the collective race of humanity and the human tribes. Focusing on correcting our mitochondrial record to align to our cosmic mother. Self-assessment. To address our core negative beliefs and core wounds that takes us out of self-centering and grounding, we must look to the frustrations and irritations we feel in everyday life by listening to the inner dialogue we have that is negative about ourselves, negative about others, negative about our conditions. Many people's core wound is generated in their earliest memories during childhood, and this emotional pain may have been defined in previous lifetimes in similar situations. When the same emotional theme was played out and was not resolved and healed, it is replayed in this current lifetime. Drilling down into the core wound of unhealed emotional pain and fear takes us into the classic case study of ego walls of separation, a feeling disconnected from experiencing or feeling unconditional love and self-acceptance. Each person will grow to develop their own ego defense mechanisms that reinforce the experiences of separation, which take us away from giving or receiving unconditional love. When we live in fear, our body constricts and we hold back our heart, suppressing our feelings, withholding authentic and truthful communication, which increases emotional and mental pain. When we live in a fearful state, our body will constrict from tension. It will contract away from giving and receiving unconditional love. And this denial of self-love is the main cause of continuing to experience and accumulate emotional pain. Our beliefs around family and our connections to family lineages will give important insight and clues to the negative core beliefs and wounds that we are struggling with, that we have inherited from the false parent. The false parent is the main victimizer archetype that is used to create pain and trauma in the child, when that child is totally dependent upon that adult person. When abuse is suffered in childhood, destructive attachments and negative bonds are formed within that child, which carry into adulthood if they are not cleared. To free the body, mind, emotions, and spirit from the bondage of trauma induced by parents or others when we were children, we must take responsibility to learn how to love ourselves and unconditionally forgive what has happened to us. This action dissolves the causality and the consequential effects, as well as later entanglements that this pain has created throughout the child's timeline all the way into adulthood. If we hold a vision of humanity as eternal souls coming into the material reality to learn lessons to grow and purify ourselves spiritually, it is easier to see that most people have forgotten who they really are, as they are wearing many false identity masks. It is rare today to meet with completely honest, balanced, and authentic people. Thus, in this reflection, we may have forgotten who we really are and still are bargaining away our soul. The core wound we hide from is the shock and trauma we experience when we feel separated from unconditional love. This core wound organizes our ego identification in ways that help us feel safer in the world, many times draining away our creativity, love, and sexual connections. Overcoming our resistance to face inner pain or fear requires that we undergo the dark night of the soul process, so we can experience the direct knowledge that we can come through our fear and pain and become fully connected to experience the state of unconditional love. Many people require a spiritual crisis, which starts as a life crisis of some kind, in order to get to the level of desperation that pushes them to let go of everything fully. In this phase of letting go, going past the fear through the ego death, they find themselves in a new state of awareness with an open-heartedness that releases the floodgates of unconditional love, compassion, and empathy. When we resist the emotional and spiritual process required to address our hidden core wound and pain, it can occupy us for many years in seeking psychological, emotional, and spiritual healing work. The core wound is the most commonly generated in the pre-verbal or non-verbal areas of the brain, body, and consciousness. Thus, it is greatly entwined with the physical body, the central nervous system, and the functioning of the 3 layers of ego. If there is no self-awareness of the pain held in the triggering of this core wound, the wound takes over the body and runs on automatic through the nervous system and brain. To bring unconditional love and stabilize it into our body and conscious awareness, we need to identify the organizing belief systems that trigger our core pain. We must remember who we are in our spiritual essence, our sense of true core self, before we took on the fear-based belief that we were separated from love. If we are willing to feel the wound that led to the pain generated from our separation from unconditional love, This reveals to us where the wound is located in our body, or where the black emptiness resides. Our core wound manifests as an aching emptiness or black hole somewhere in our body, usually found in the heart center, and this interferes with our capacity to be grounded in our core self. Once identified, the black holes of pain need to be filled with the light of unconditional love and forgiveness. Clearing the pain body is such an important step in stabilizing our core and becoming inner directed. Due to the strong forces being exerted in our environment during this time, it feels appropriate to end with some practical tips in the form of an exercise that may be supportive. To go beyond core fears and recover the core self, this quick exercise may be helpful. Source the belief system. Identify the negative belief or belief system that drives the core wound, that spreads emotional and mental pain, and leaves fear residues and constriction sensations in your body. Connect to your physical body. Identify where the core pain or aching wound can be felt in your body and body parts. Pay attention and observe how your body constricts and closes down in fear when you are feeling your core pain or core wound. Observe the fear. Witness. Stay present to the core fear and pain without trying to change it or shift it immediately. Observe it as being connected to your physical self, your biological self. Do not try to make the fear or wound as something positive or bargain it away. Just allow yourself to be fully present with the fear and pain without believing it to be true. Call it out for what it is, the negative ego or predator mind characteristics. Experience vulnerability while feeling the pain. Be open to feel the vulnerability that pain may make you feel without assigning any labels or value of good or bad. Stay present to experience unbearable pain as an energy, thought form, and vibration, staying as open as you can to witness it in your body. If you can focus on the feeling of being vulnerable, allow yourself to be fully innocent, knowing that being comfortable with emotional vulnerability is a great strength. Invite in unconditional love. Bring to mind and imagine yourself in your eternal spirit body. Before this core wound, pain and negative beliefs existed. In your mind, completely surround the fear, void, or blackness in the body and area of pain with unconditional love, light, and power of the crystal star and Godhead. See your entire body lit up in God sovereign free imagery, enlightened, free, and liberated from pain. Please only take what is useful for your spiritual growth and discard all the rest. Thank you for your courage and bravery to be a truth seeker. Until next, stay in the luminosity of your avatar Christos Sophia heart path. Please be kind to yourself and to each other with a loving heart. Until next month.